Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the April 25th, 2023 Town Board Work Session. If I could get everybody to stand, please, for the pledge to the flag. Mr. Strauss, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could just remain standing for a couple moments for the moment of silence. Please keep in your thoughts and prayers all of our first responders, some of which we have here tonight with our ambulance crews who are going to give us a little presentation, and all of our police, fire, EMS, and please also keep in your thoughts and prayers all of our military service members here and abroad that are keeping us safe and keeping our freedom on a daily basis. And also, please keep in your thoughts and prayers retired detectives Sean Lewis's family. His son had passed away in the past couple of days. Thank you. Amen. Okay, I trust everybody had a pretty good week. I was fortunate enough over the weekend to attend with Senator Murphy the grand opening of the, I don't know exactly what to call it. It's an 800 square foot scoreboard. It is absolutely amazing that they got from a grant and has been put up, and you can see it from 202, probably better you can see it up close. They're actually going to have the ability to actually show instant replays on it and so forth. But it's like, I forget if it was 600 or 800 square feet, but it's huge. It's about the size of this room. So good luck to Yorktown High School with their new scoreboard, which was gotten through a grant through at that time, Senator Murphy. Being Library Week, we have several things going on at our library. I would check their website. We have Family Game Night. Tom, I don't know if you can zoom in on this. Holding up. Okay. That will be celebrate Screen-Free Week and Children's Book Week with us. And that'll be at the John C. Hart Memorial Library, Wednesday, May 3rd from 4 to 8 p.m. We also have, on May 2nd, from 4 to 8 p.m., Make It, Take It Craft, where there'll be, for all ages. So, Sergio, you can even go.
I could go?
You can go. Okay?
I would love to go.
And that will be on May 2nd from 4 to 8 p.m., also at the John C. Hart Memorial Library.
I think that's a Tuesday. I think you'll be here.
Oh, will we be here?
I can't go?
Oh, you can't go then. I'm
Sorry.
sorry. You got to be here.
That's not right.
All right. And just so you know, is that May 1st through 7th, 2023, is Children's Book Week and Screen-Free Week. So if we can put down the phones, even if it's just for a little bit, or the computers, or whatever the case may be. On Monday, I'll go through the whole litany of things they have here. It's create Screen-Free Week posters from 4 to 8. Tuesday, make a special craft from 4 to 8 p.m. Monday is board game night from 4 to 8 p.m. And one of my all-time favorites is Lego Free Build from 4 to 8 p.m. Friday will be a favorite book character parade. That's at 11 a.m. And then Saturday, Library Lion Story Walk event. That's at 10 a.m. It says, come hear a few stories, take part in our new outdoor story walk experience. That would be the flyer for the library. Okay. We also have the week of, where are we here? Monday, May 1st, is the spring fire hydrant flushing program. That'll be Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. through June 30th. And it will include parts of sections 4, 5, 6, and 7. A list of streets being flushed will be posted daily on the Water Department website as a reference for all the residents. So bear that in mind. If you do have some discolored areas, discolored water, and you happen to be in one of those areas, but you can check where that area is on the Water Department website. And I think that's all I have for announcements right now. So we're going to open the work session, and we have some folks from Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps. They're going to come up and give us a little presentation about what they've done, what they do, and how they get it done. Mr. Paul, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. How are you
Oh,
doing?
and I went to another nice little thing the other day on Sunday. They had a recruitment drive at the Mohegan Fire Department, which kind of spurred this presentation. So, Paul, take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting us this evening, sir. So my name is Paul Turiano. I am the captain of Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps. I've been an EMT for about 30 years, and I'm here tonight to implore the board for your assistance with regards to a presentation we have, basically asking you for two things, a membership drive and money. So if you'll hear me out, I'll make this quick. First slide, please.
Just give me a sec. I'm just tapping in now.
Okay.
Let's see if you cover the medic stuff for me too. Maybe you'll do my work.
We have lots to talk about, but I'll make it.
While you're waiting, how did the recruitment drive go this week?
It went well, but we could always use more. So that's basically how it works. It went well, but we could use more. If not, I have my laptop. You tell me.
Nope, it's coming.
There you go.
He looks like he's having fun.
Really?
I was having a good time.
So if you just go to slide 1,
Yep.
please. We don't have to do the intro. That'd be great. Thank you.
Oh, oops.
There, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
So basically, Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps is a separate entity, but a part of Mohegan Volunteer Fire Association. There's fire and EMS that both respond and both report to the Mohegan Fire Association. We've been around the Mohegan Volunteer Fire Association since 1923, basically 100 years. We just celebrated this past year. I'm here to talk to you about the ambulance, the volunteer ambulance. We are one of the largest and busiest districts in Westchester County. We serve approximately over 3,000 911 calls a year. Our brethren in Yorktown cover about 1,400 calls a year. Each one of our calls requires an EMT or a paramedic to be on the ambulance. We are all EMTs on our side, but if we respond to a call, if necessary, a paramedic will do an intercept and meet us at the scene. We cover approximately 42 square miles. It's a large jurisdiction, a large area. We cover everywhere from Peekskill all the way to Mahopac, from Putt Valley all the way down here to 202. It's important to understand one thing, and that's why I'm here tonight. We receive no tax dollars. We have no budget line item with you whatsoever. All of our money basically is through either donations or funding that we receive from insurance payments from these calls. Ever since COVID, the call volume has increased. We'll show you that right now. And because of that, we have not had as many members responding. Next slide, please.
Whoops, wait a minute.
So
Is that it?
that's, sorry, 1 second. No,
Okay.
it's a
Yep,
blue
I just
one.
got to go through.
It's the blue one that says number of calls, 911 calls per year.
There you go.
Perfect. So as you see here, We have a staggering 3,869 calls last year, 20% increase from the year before, and almost 1,000 calls more than 2020. Again, being the largest. We've been used in the same sentences as New Rochelle, Yonkers, and Mount Vernon for the call volume that we currently have. Next slide, please. Unfortunately, during this particular time, we have lost many members. COVID-19 has devastated and decimated our ranks. Our membership, in order to be active, you can become a driver, a crew member, but we desperately need EMTs, which we have very few of. We are a New York State ambulance, which means in order for our ambulance to leave our tarmac, to leave our curtain, we must have an EMT on that ambulance or know that I'm going to have a paramedic waiting at that site. By law, I must have at least an EMT level medical care on that ambulance. As you can see here, on paper, we have a tremendous number of members, but because of the demographics, the economy, and so forth, our membership has dwindled down. We now have approximately 29 active members in our organization to handle the 3,869 calls. Unfortunately, they can't do that. So what we need to do is we need to hire Empress per diem, and they supplement our organization. Today, for example, we average approximately 10 911 calls a day. So when one ambulance is going out, perhaps with a volunteer, a second ambulance necessary is with Empress, and Empress is the paid staff that we need to pay for using our donation or our insurance co-pays. Next slide, please. So when you're an active member, in terms of what was defined as an active member, you can have an individual put 1, 2, 3 calls, but in order to make a substantial difference in the line items or the budget necessary to offset the dollars, you must make 3% of the calls. So 3%, if we were looking at that call volume, that means an individual must respond to, last year, 116 911 calls in order to make the 3% necessary to be considered active. And that helps, that number, those individuals, help us offset the dollars necessary to pay for the ambulances, to pay for the labor, the expenses, and so forth. Next slide, please. So this is my second to last slide, because I promised Tom over the weekend I'd make it very quick. The things we're really needing is with regards to funding. I have been a member of Mohegan for almost 25 years. Before that, I was down in Harrison, like I said, almost 40 years as an EMT. This year, Mohegan has to do something we've never done before. We have to take a car loan out to pay for a new ambulance. We cannot afford a new ambulance. The ambulance we currently have on order is what they call a refurb. A refurb is where they take the box of a current ambulance and put it on a chassis of another ambulance. We have to a loan scheduled payment to start once it starts to come in. The refurb alone is $180,000. That's just for a refurb. A brand new ambulance is $350,000. We're at a crossroads. Our expenses basically equal our income. So we're imploring on you for any assistance because, again, we foresee the problem whereas when this ambulance comes in, hopefully in June, there is currently, in case you don't know, and anyone in the audience as well, there's an 18 to 24 month lead time for the next ambulance. So I had today brakes on an ambulance. I had issues. These ambulances are not like your station wagons. They sit dormant until a call comes in. They go rev high, go to the scene, they rev high, and they come back again. We put a lot of wear and tear in the chassis alone. So you see from this sign here, basically, that I needed two things. As I said before, money and members. With regards to, again, anything you can do, grant writing, line item, taxes, anything you can do to help us would be greatly appreciated, and also membership. Again, ever since 9/11, as I said before, we've lost a copious and a large number of members. We're looking for anybody, retiree, a young member, older member. We'll train you. We'll do anything necessary to keep you as an active person to help us offset the labor cost. And as I say, help us help neighbors. Neighbors helping neighbors. Last slide, please. I'll end this with the gotcha slide. And this is the most important statement that I think you should see. This is a quote out of Westchester County Magazine in approximately 2015. It's a very powerful statement. It says, while volunteers decline, the need for emergency care grows. A large aging population means an increasing call volume in the coming years. Despite the best efforts of volunteer agencies to recruit and retain members, the future of a fully volunteered staff ambulance corps is uncertain. And as you know, we're getting more and more nursing homes, which we go gladly and respond to, but nursing homes, assisted living, we are at a crossroads, and we ask and implore if there's anything the board can do to help us, we'd greatly appreciate it. That's it.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Stay,
you very
stay
much.
right there for a minute. You know, we had a real nice conversation. It
was great.
Over the weekend, and I was so surprised to hear that you folks have basically done almost 4,000 calls over the course of a year. And one of the stories that you told me, and I've heard bits and pieces from other places before, but until you put it this way to me, is that people call 911 and think these folks are an Uber, okay? They are not, okay? They're for emergency service. So if you're looking for a ride to the hospital, call a taxi, okay? If you're injured, hurt, or whatever the case might be, call the ambulance, all right? One of the stories was that one of the nursing homes, and I'm not going to say which one or go into anything.
Yeah, they need to vet their calls.
Really?
Actually, there's, go ahead, I'll correct you a second.
But one of the care facilities, nursing facilities, actually have the patients that are calling 911 because they didn't like their dinner.
Correct.
Now, when they go get a call for 911, all right, ambulance has to respond, and most of the time has to transport, correct?
Correct.
So they go into the hospital and they say, well, what do you want us to do? we have rules we have to follow. Person called, didn't like their dinner, they called 911. You got to do what you got to do, I guess, in the hospital. So not only does it tie up our ambulances, it ties up our hospital staffs, it ties up anything. Folks, these people are not an Uber,
Forces for mutual aid. Forget
okay?
it.
Well, if I may just expand just for 2 more minutes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, to your point, it's a catch-22 situation. The nursing homes are overworked and understaffed. So what happens is they know the verbiage to use.
Right.
If let's say Tom is being difficult today, they'll dial 911 and say Tom has an altered mental status.
Why did he pick on me and put that in there? Okay, I have a problem with
We
that.
wanted everyone to be able to relate.
They relate. So in addition to that, you should be all cognizant of the fact that we are a tiered response system. Unlike many other organizations, we're a tiered response system, which means when you dial 911, the Yorktown Police Department will show up. The fire department will show up in Mohegan Lake, which is an engine, which is $1 million piece of equipment. An ambulance will show up, it's about $250,000. And a paramedic will be taken, as Luciano will tell you, a paramedic will be taken out of service to respond to the call. Our goal is to get hands on that patient as soon as possible with that tiered response. If it's your loved one, you want to hear that siren, and you want somebody to get there. So with these different all respond at the same time, so what happens is, unfortunately, I personally, on Your Honor, the town attorney, I will tell you that I've responded to calls for I need a drink of water.
They won't give me Advil.
They won't give me Advil. My medication is late. I don't like the food here. I didn't eat. I'm diabetic. I don't feel good. I want to go to the hospital now. And because we're a 911, a state-certified 911 agency,
Yeah.
if I refuse medical care to any one of you,
Liability.
then I am basically abandoning the patient. So we're the servants of you. We support you, the town. We do it gladly. We're overworked. We don't get paid. And we're at a crossroads in which we really need members and money. And I implore and I ask if there's anything you folks can do, we appreciate anything.
I was a member of Mohegan for a number of years, and I know the work that these folks do. As a police officer, some of the best things you hear over the radio while you're doing CPR or you're holding somebody's carotid artery that's cut is MVAC en route or YVAC en route, because you know somebody's coming to give you a hand. You know, it's not a great feeling to be out there all by yourself many times, and you know that these folks are coming.
And Supervisor, one of the things that we're really working with is, at this point, if we do not get these volunteers, we're at a place where we have got to get at least another 2 Empress members here housed and fly cars, because there's not enough bodies to have service. And we do have our NYPD or our fire with much more to do than just to sit there with one patient, and we need the support. And I didn't realize there were that many calls, and obviously Paul's calls are tremendous if we tack those on to what your town is also doing.
Quite a few.
You're probably
my
past
God.
7,000 calls, ambulance,
EMTs or paramedic calls.
And as much as they, I mean, Mr. Lang's gonna get mad at me, as much as they do what they do with the insurance, our guys are not there pushing them to file insurance. We're hoping they're gonna use their insurance, but we don't know.
If I may, Councilwoman, the insurance we get is either Medicare or Medicaid for many of the calls.
Right.
Which is not even covering the expense of the ambulance in many times.
Never mind what's to clean the rig.
So again, it's an
Aren't you
issue
involved in
of,
the machine?
one thing that concerns me, and I'm a resident of this town, and I've been here for many years, while we're dealing with one call, if God willing, your family members are in dire need and need 911, the mutual aid system is there in place, but what's the response time?
Right.
And I implore you to help us help you. That's basically
Yeah.
it.
Well, look, I know it's a lot of time out of your day. You're here tonight. You could be with your family, and but that's
My
what
wife
it is,
wants
right?
me here instead, I guarantee you.
So we're doing a service to you then.
Yes.
No, but I mean, we really appreciate it, and
Thank you.
we understand the calls, and that a lot of them, often people kind of misuse and abuse, your services, and that's a shame.
It's just mind-boggling to think there are 10 911 calls a day, an average, if not more. The most we've ever gotten is 18 calls. We've had all 3 ambulances going out at the same time. That's 3 EMTs, 3 drivers, 3 crews, and like Councilwoman Luciano was saying, paramedics are flying all over with one fly car.
With one.
Which we'll talk later.
Yes.
With one fly car. So we support that.
And like you say, you have 27, I'm sorry, you have 27 active.
Who've met their calls last year. We still have members who try to contribute, and we applaud them and support them. But we need more, because when you're dealing with 3,869 calls, it's mind-boggling.
And I want to be clear, members can come in, and obviously we want active members, but we have members that are taking care of the linens of these places and just doing the basic in-house stuff. I applaud them as well, because
Anybody and everybody.
it is also, there's a lot of housekeeping to be done, and it's all volunteership.
We talked about that also.
Did you?
So in closing, if I might, MoheganVac.net. Like us on Facebook, see us on Instagram, MoheganVac.net.
commercial.
He does it pretty good.
MoheganVac, VAC.net. There's an application for you, and we have a great opportunity for you to join and help your neighborhood.
Thank you.
So I have a few questions.
Sir.
You service the town of Cortland as well?
We service Cortland, and we covered Lexington Avenue as the cutoff point. From Lexington Avenue here is Yorktown. From Lexington Avenue over to Peekskill is Cortland. You are correct.
And then, have you had a similar presentation with the town of Cortland yet?
I will tell you, in all honesty, in front of the attorney here, Mr. Town Supervisor Diana was the only individual to accept our offer to come visit us, and we thank him for that. So basically, if we were given the opportunity, I'll go to Cortland in a heartbeat. But we thank Supervisor Diana for coming on Sunday and accepting. And we basically kidnapped him. Jenna got very upset. I kidnapped him for about an hour, and I basically begged. It's Italian guilt. I basically begged with him with regards to, we're at a crossroads.
And for the record, we have also tried to get a hold of Cortland and just do a sit-down. The past supervisor was attempting to do that as well, so hopefully we can redo that again, Jenna, try to get a hold of them, because they're not allowing us to come to meetings.
And I will say, and I know it's going to sound bad, I would have been there, but I was at Kent's open
That's
house,
fine.
only because with my ice cream thing, so.
That's perfectly fine. I support that as well. I'm lactose intolerant, but I love ice cream, so that's fine.
I have oat milk ice cream, we could talk.
Good, we can talk.
So that was my first question. Second question, do your members receive any type of tax incentive for joining?
There is, if you're an active member, I believe you get at the end of the year, if you're a member in good standing and you're active, there's a little reduction in, I think, the town taxes, like a couple $100.
And is that both Yorktown and?
Yes.
Okay. You were talking about service calls to the senior communities
Yes.
as being one of your hotspots, if I'm imagining. Now, do they contribute anything
No.
on a, okay,
No. It's purely donations
right.
and medical billing, which is Medicare, Medicaid. We don't get a grant. We don't get a stipend, perhaps, from any of the no-named, I won't mention any of the facilities.
But I would imagine it would behoove them to try to keep the volunteer ambulance corps alive and active. But now on that line, do they help you to ensure that insurance for their community members is submitted?
No. I've been on both sides. I've worked. My mother was in one of the nursing homes here. It's one dynamic, which is they need to get them in, get them out, get them in, and get them out. So to answer your question, sir, with all due respect, if we'll get one of the patients will get abnormal labs from the doctor. This is very common. The doctor says to the nurse, he or she must go to the hospital because of abnormal labs. They'll call a paid service. A paid service says we'll be there about 4 to 6 hours. The nurse on duty says, I can't wait that long. Doctor says, call 911. So it's not the nurses. I don't fault the nurses. It's a whole cycle that's involved. But again, to Supervisor Diana's question, we have done everything from picked up people, transported people, to doctor's appointments, whatever the case may be.
I think it may be something that, with Supervisor Diana's knowledge of EMS and the systems involved, to perhaps maybe have a round table with our volunteer ambulance corps, because we have two, and our local senior community leaders, and talk to them about the possibility of seeing what they could do to help at least ensure the insurance comes through. And because I know I was taking care of a cousin who was in assisted living, and I was getting the ambulance bills, and I'm like, why didn't you pick her up?
Yeah.
Or why didn't you submit? Oh, well, we didn't get around to it. So if there was a little more responsibility and that mutual aid, so to speak, from
Right.
them, that may be of assistance. So I think that's something that we may be able to do. And then there were two last thoughts. You have the Fall Festival and the Spring Market now at the JV Mall with both with the Chamber of Commerce. Matter of fact, on the 30th, we have the Spring Market coming up, and I believe you guys have a presence there every year, at least the fire.
Yeah, fire. We'll be more than happy to. If anybody could send us the information, I personally make a point of.
I'll talk to the Chamber President, Karen Trandell, and
We'd love
see,
to.
and perhaps have recruitment there, and then build that through. But also, please, my cell number's on here. I'll give you that when you're done. We do an ad in the Lions Journal for YVAC. Of course, they're there all the time, and we talk about it. But I think it would be pretty easy to add Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance to that as well, because you all work together.
We do.
And we can definitely get your website in there, see what we can do to
We appreciate that.
bring that awareness.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
People don't know. They don't know how much these folks do for us, for nothing. Okay? And if you can volunteer, it's great. If you can donate, it's great. I'm going to work with you. We'll get together within the
appreciate it.
next little bit. I got some grant possibilities that we want to explore. We want to call the folks that we use, and maybe we can, maybe we can get something through New York State for you, or anything. But it's something that folks have to realize, just because, and I think it's more or less that taxes you is, like you say, you have your facilities, such as your care facilities that are calling because they didn't get the right medicine.
Correct.
Or they didn't like the way the water tasted.
Correct.
I know I'm minimizing it.
But you are correct.
Yeah, but there's got to be something done, because I read you loud and clear.
Thank you.
Okay, and I understand that it doesn't look like Mohegan Ambulance will be long for this world if we don't get you guys some help.
Yep.
That's basically.
All right, that's the way I'm taking it right
correct.
now.
Yes, sir.
So just a quick yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So just a quick question. So, so you just can't get a hold of folks in Cortland?
We have my esteemed colleagues in the back
Bring
room.
them up. Come on up, guys.
I have the
Gals,
board of
something
director. I have two board of directors here. I have Robert Piazza and Tony Iannone. Mr. Iannone has reached out to Cortland, and I'll let him speak for that. And this is Mr. Iannone and Mr. Piazza.
So just one more question for you. So what is the percentage of calls that you respond to out of you close to 4,000 calls? Well, yeah, the ambulance.
Last year I responded to about 248 calls.
Well, no, out of the 4,000, how many were Cortland side? How many were kind of like what percentage? Roughly, I don't need that. No.
50-50.
Aren't there nursing homes on that side too? Absolutely. That's the kicker, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the numbers. But there's a lot. It's a small piece, but it's a very dense piece. So there's a lot of calls that come.
There are a considerable amount of calls on the Yorktown nursing homes without mentioning any names.
Yeah, that's no. I mean, we
Yes,
don't want to
but
call anybody out. We're just trying to get the facts. So what's going on with Cortland then?
Basically, again, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
We are in negotiations with the town of Cortland. We've recently switched billing companies, and we're awaiting a pattern of revenue so we can negotiate with Cortland regarding some fees and some
Good.
different things that we're required to reimburse them for.
Yeah, I think if it's a team effort, I think we could get the job done, and I think we could really ensure you guys keep doing the right thing, and girls, for for our citizens, for our folks.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do.
We do.
And,
We appreciate everything you do.
Paul, here's my card, and you know what? I'd like to set up an appointment with you and the gents, and let's see what we can get accomplished. Jenna, remind me to call the grant people tomorrow,
Right.
and we'll see what they have in the hopper, if anything. Maybe they might know of something. Oh yeah, we can get them. Who knows? But we'll try.
We thank you very much for all your help.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
for all
gentlemen.
do.
Thank you. Jenna, could I have that poster? I just want to hold it up for everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Huh? Yeah. Folks, this is a little bit about the open house. Tom, if you can zoom in on that. The other suggestion is that you have a couple representatives here from Fam Jam, Paul, and maybe you guys could set up a booth over there. All right, and maybe get a few extra volunteers that would be active. And it doesn't really matter your age. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. We need you out there, folks. We need you to help out your community. So hopefully you'll be able to do that in some way, shape, or form. And if you can't, I'm sure that you should be able to make some type of small contribution. But thank you. Mohegan Ambulance, Yorktown Ambulance, thank you guys for so much for what you all do and do for free. Okay. Who do we have next? 79 Summerston Road. Dave Gassell. Oh, we got Dan coming up too. Dan and Dave.
Dan looks ready.
Dan's ready.
All right, so
Dave's pushing Dan.
yeah, right. I'll do the lead in. And I'll let him explain the four corners of the application. This particular application is on Somerston Road, and as you're aware, that whole crossroads area, there is some state wetlands that borders a number of the homes. This would happen to be one of them. So the reason this is before you, the criteria for it being a non-administrative permit is that they're proposing a pool in the rear yard. It's within 50 feet of a flagged wetlands, which is one issue. And then the second is that it's estate wetlands. So both of those triggers kick it out of my jurisdiction and put it before this board. So one of the ways we were thinking of processing this is to, if the board is okay with it, that we get all the reports in, and if the board should choose to approve the permit, that it would be contingent upon getting the approval from New York State DEC. So that being said, that's sort of where we are procedurally, and I'll let Dave explain to you.
So they basically need to build it within the buffer, but not on the
Yes,
wetland.
yes, they're not in the wetlands, but the way the code reads,
Yep.
it's out of my realm to issue the permit.
And the state kicks in on this one also, right? Because it's in the state wetland buffer, right?
That's correct.
Or in the state wetland, rather, not
No,
buffer.
no, it's in the state wetland buffer.
Oh,
It's
buffer,
not-
okay,
Right,
okay.
it's not in the wetland itself, but it's regulated by New York State DEC.
So I'm sorry, how far would, once the pool is built, would it be from the wetland? Like, what would you say?
It's less than 50 feet. And-
Okay.
and I'll let Dave take over and, yeah, I'll hand it off to you now.
Good evening. So to answer your question, I guess the leading edge of the pool on the house side is approximately at the 50-foot mark. We could show it on the plan. It's.
Oh, there you go.
Walk up.
Go ahead.
Walk you through where that is. This staggered line here is your 50-foot offset. And this is the staggered line in the wooded area is your wetland delineation. And then the 100-foot buffer is further up in the front yard, which kind of passes through the house itself.
That's better. Now we can see.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, you can't see that, Ed?
I
Oh, okay.
What's the size of the pool?
There you go.
There we
Is
go.
it 20 by 40?
Approximately. It's a
Approximately?
little, 16 by 40?
A 16 by 40?
Yeah.
And where's the deep end?
The deep end will be on the left side.
Yeah, because you have to have the entrance towards where the door is to the house, right?
Yeah, I think
So it's going vertical.
we could, Mark, if you don't mind, I'm going to page 3.
Go to page 3? Sure. There you go.
If you could scroll down. See the orientation of the pool?
Yeah, I see it. So it's got the sun bench area where you step in.
Yes.
The shallow, then it goes into 3 steps.
Correct.
You have like 2 skimmers. So, and then the wiggly line back there is the wetland line?
That is the wetland
Right.
delineation, which
Right there.
which was flagged by our environmental consultant, Tim Miller Associates, and was confirmed by the New York State DEC.
Is it a salt pool or a chlorine pool?
I believe he's thinking about salt, but that decision hasn't been finalized yet, depending on
But
where
it's
we are.
fiberglass.
It's fiberglass. It's a fiberglass preformed pool.
Yep. You drop it in 2 pieces.
And we did look at the soils in the backyard and in the front yard as well to offer mitigation for stormwater management and any kind of discharges would be needed for the pool drawdown. And we proposed a couple changes from the previous plan. We proposed now that the stormwater system will be in the front yard, where we found there's decent percolation. In the backyard, it was a totally opposite scene. It was different soils. We found clay. We soaked the hole for 48 hours, came back, there was water still in the hole. So the backyard is off limits for any kind of mitigation for stormwater management. As far as,
So you're gonna have to put a pump underneath the fiberglass so
well,
it doesn't pop?
it's only if they want to, there's going to be a hydrostatic relief valve.
Oh, there
for
is.
the pool.
So you're putting a hydrostatic relief valve
Yeah,
in it.
yeah, that'll be balanced. During construction, the contractor typically puts a riser tube and he'll draw the water table down until the water's balanced with, filled and balanced
Yeah, but
for
if-
buoyancy.
But if sediments get inside that valve, that return line doesn't work anymore. I'm just curious if they're gonna put anything underneath it.
I'm not sure.
Move the Coltex to move the water to the other side. Yeah, because, I mean, the hydrostatic valve's got an O-ring in it. Once it gets too
Yeah.
much stuff in it, it's gonna clog.
I mean, there's a full depth of pea gravel and sand. There's a whole series of bedding
Got a whole
soil.
system down in there, right?
That'll filter some of the sediment and debris from accumulating. But typically, what they did was also install a couple sump pump pits around the pool.
That's what I'm
As a
asking.
secondary measure, should you see that you have a need to have a high groundwater table or inspection port to see what's going on with the groundwater, you could actually drop a sump pump pit and draw it down to save your pool from buoyancy if need be. There's a couple protections there.
Yeah, because otherwise those full fiberglass are like a big boat. You get too much water on them.
That's right.
Put a little drill and hold the bottom. Is it permeable around it?
Yeah, for the most
Putting
part.
like, yeah, it's not cool decking or anything like
No,
that?
no, there's an existing patio deck which has some permeability. It was installed previously by the owner before we joined the team, but
Oh,
that
great.
patio is shown on the plan. And
So they're pavers?
they're pavers. It's like a unilock
So
paver.
you'll do the SL1 expansion joint on around the, because waters can push that way too.
Well, it's pre-existing. We didn't participate in the design. There's an architect, David Tetro, a local architect from Yorktown, worked with the property owner to have that put in with a deck, and he's got an attached garage under construction as well. There's a couple of things going on at that property. Just going back to the submittal, the DEC did review it. We did receive some commentary as well, and a couple comments were to pull the chain link fence all the way up to the pool. Originally, we proposed it behind the tool shed, more adjacent to the wetland buffer, the back end of the wetland buffer and the flagged delineation. So we pulled that fence up forward, and we also moved the pool 8 feet closer to the deck. It was originally a little bit more central in the lawn area. And the property is also, as you may be aware, it's a FEMA floodplain as well. So there are provisions to account for the pool equipment. We will be elevating it.
You have to
above-
elevate on stilts, yeah.
Yes, above the freeboard. So I think the FEMA floodplain is about 510 feet above sea level, and then we're gonna go to that level for the pool equipment.
So as far as the gate goes, it comes all the way back, it's around the pool deck, and then it matches the house?
There's existing vinyl fencing
Okay.
along the sides, which will be retrofitted. The gates, right now, they swing inward,
Right, so you haven't got it away.
so they're gonna swing outward, so.
And they'll have the double lock on them? the
Yes,
full
yes.
security
So
lock.
there's gonna be retrofits to a gate in the driveway, and then also a secondary gate on the left, facing the house on the right side.
And they're gonna shrub the equipment, is that what they're doing there?
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah,
of
I mean, so
screening.
it looks pretty.
Yeah, a little bit of screening if you don't want to see it. But we also proposed, in consultation with the environmental consultant, wetlands plantings. There's a peripheral buffer area. In the buffer, we're looking to plant some varieties.
Yeah, because they absorb a lot of water, so
Yeah.
that's great. They drink the water.
So that mitigation is offered as well. Some of the suggested plantings are shown in that table on the top left.
Is it a sand and gravel filter, or is it a DE filter?
It's a cartridge,
It is a cartridge?
yes.
Okay.
So there's no backwash.
There's no backwashing, which is good, so you're not pushing more water out. That's good.
That's right, that's right.
So you'll have to remove the cartridges, and they'll have to do it twice, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
And is it a bigger cartridge for that pool? Are you guys going a little bit bigger than small?
I'm not certain what the pool contractor is going to bring.
Okay.
But that's all he does is the cartridge. That's what he suggests, especially in environmental critical areas.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So,
We definitely don't want to backwash.
yeah, yeah.
Did the whole pool.
Well, it's just technology got better, with a lot of filtering. And what else is there? If you scroll down, or if you don't mind, I'll show you in the front yard where we're proposing the stormwater management.
Next slide or
No,
further
just
down
to the
on
bottom.
this?
If you can move the slide up. Sure. Thank you.
What else did the DEC say? That's it, just those kind of recommendations?
Yeah, those are the
Anything else?
recommendations, and now we're just waiting for the permit itself. They came out, they walked the site, they concurred that the flags that were installed a year ago are still the proper flagging. So,
So now you're waiting for that, and you need us to give you an approval?
yeah, actually a conditional approval. I mean, as the town engineer mentioned that, we wouldn't get a permit from either, Dan or the building inspector until we received that state permit.
Right, no, we understand.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, to be quite honest, I don't really have an issue with it.
I really don't either. Dan?
True with that.
No, I don't have an issue with it. I think you did really good.
No, it seems like you're taking all the proper steps and so on and so forth. Any recommendations from you?
Yeah, I mean, the applicant's proposing some mitigation for both the wetlands intrusion and the stormwater runoff. So the impact, from our perspective, is mitigated. I'm not going to give an opinion as to what's the necessary mitigation for the wetlands buffer intrusion.
Yeah.
But if the DEC is okay with it, I would defer to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, as far as I'm concerned, you're good to go with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's that.
So we'll work on teeing up a resolution maybe for the next meeting. So
Yep.
Sounds good.
get it out of this venue and wish them luck with the DEC.
appreciate it.
I mean, unless you want to go do one quick now, we'll get it done tonight.
Yeah.
You want to hold off on that more, or you want to,
That's totally up to you.
I'll have it for you next week. They're
Next
not
week?
going
Fine.
anywhere because they need the DEC.
Oh, that's right, the
We're still
DEC gotta
waiting.
get-
Yeah.
Yeah, so
All right.
we are not the obstruction in the progress.
okay, good,
I think that was a good
Town
idea.
has been solid the whole.
yeah. Okay.
All righty.
Just watch out for that cyanuric acid. in those
Thank you for your
pools.
time.
Thank you, Dave.
Congratulations on your.
Thank you so much. All right, next up, we have FamJan, Brian Duffy, and Patrick Murphy. And Bob Giordano.
I thought you'd come by yourself.
Posse.
Brian needs backup.
Good evening, Town Board.
Good
Hey,
evening.
Brian.
Good evening.
Okay, so the last couple days have been a little rough in the planning in terms of the weather. We're not quite sure which way we're headed, but one thing's come to me through the various phone calls is we got to wait at least another day or into Thursday and make a final decision. Last Saturday we had going to be a complete washout, and it turned out to be a pretty nice day, and we're hoping for the same. So I appreciate Chief Noble reaching out and saying we have until 1300 hours Thursday. We will go ahead and at least get till noon on Thursday, if not sooner. And just want to let the town know that we will post through social media and all our different email channels and such to let people know what our plan is, and the website. And we're not, listen, we're at the mercy of the weather, and it's not going to be a great event unless we have great weather. So,
Got that right. Yep.
so I want to say thank you to all the support that we received over the last couple weeks putting this together. It's been tremendous. And I also want to acknowledge some of our small businesses have stepped up twofold this year. The sponsorship it's doubled, which is absolutely amazing. And more importantly, there's two new businesses in town, one of which is our new par 3 golf course. Those guys stepped up huge. They are our main contributor to this year's event, and we're proud to be partners with them. And of course, the Solaris has changed owners. We have East Coast Sports now, and what a great team over there. Husband and wife team came in, and Aaron and Jay have been so supportive, not only financially, but they've come to our meetings, planning support, et cetera. And, it's just been great to have small business jump in behind us and go, hey, this is the right thing to do for our town. So,
Yeah, I went over and met with them. They're very excited to be here in Yorktown, which is nice. That's what we're looking for.
absolutely.
Community partners, right?
Yeah, they're right behind us, and of course, there's other big sponsors, Romano Insurance Agency. We have the Ballers got behind us this year. They're going to put up a tent. Hopefully, they're able to do a bit of recruitment, which will be great for them. And and of course, Jilco. This is their second year coming back to help us, so we're really appreciative to that.
Great.
So just bear with us until we try to figure out the weather. I've seen it in all forms. Apple, I've seen it in the weather channel. Everybody is texting me the weather, and it's like, great. And I even get a phone call to tell me how I should look at the weather. But
See that?
the bottom line is we got to wait 24 hours, 48 hours. We'll know what's going to happen. And if it's next weekend or the weekend, we just got to get a clear day for the people of Yorktown.
So Thursday noontime, you're going to figure it out.
Yes.
Approximately.
Approximately. So
Okay.
by noon, you'll know. We'll have a big Facebook post, et cetera. Our meeting's tomorrow night at 6:30. If something comes across the wire that it's going to be an inch of rain. I mean, it's gone from rain to quarter inch to half inch. If I wake up tomorrow, it's an inch of rain on Saturday.
I'll wear my wellies.
Yeah.
I got to be
That's
honest.
why I didn't bring an umbrella.
I
But
got to be
anyway,
honest. If it's, from someone who's ran quite a few events in town, you get the weather, you get the event. You don't get the weather, it's just,
So
I'm hoping the weather is good for Sunday because the Chamber of Commerce is having a car show. So
Exactly.
that's another big thing. So, but they have contingencies for indoor, outdoor. So I think they're moving forward with it. But here in your location, you don't have that luxury.
If we get the keys to the front door here, potentially.
Yeah, we can put, I
everybody
think it's
there.
125 in the room here. That won't do much for you, but, have you thought about maybe moving it for Friday and then a Sunday venue?
We've gone over all the various options,
Okay.
and that is one of them. Just, hey, if Friday night's a safe night, we'll go with that. Saturday washout, Sunday, put a couple hours. We know the showmobile's got to be over at JV
Oh, on Sunday
on Sunday,
morning.
but
Yeah.
John Madden, the music director for our Fam Jam, said, don't worry, we'll play on the street, not a problem. So
Okay,
we're, just give us a day or two, we'll figure it all out.
okay.
All right.
Keep me posted
Will do.
on what you want to do. This way we can get it also on our website for you
Yeah,
folks,
push it out.
and we'll push it out.
And if you move it, it'll be the following weekend? Is that what we're hoping?
Yes, we're hoping, of course. But we're locked and loaded. We're ready to go. There's nothing, we just need the weather.
Listen,
That's
if
all.
I'm gonna be taking the pictures, I'm gonna need one of those little hats with an umbrella on it, so I got my hands free.
Leave it home.
Ryan, I have noticed that the chance for precipitation has dropped about 30, 35% from when I looked at it the other day, so.
Yeah,
It's at 64 now, right?
It's gone all different directions, so it's like,
From 90 to 50.
Yeah.
Well,
It's-
I'm
it's in
looking
the
at it now, it
40s
says
now.
70.
I'm hoping for what happened last Saturday. Just, it's a non-issue. They were ready to cancel softball and everything, and then it
Right.
was a beautiful day, so it's,
Yeah.
Just,
knows?
just as an FYI, reach out to Jim Martirano, okay? Believe it or not, he was a minor in college meteorology.
Oh, God.
Okay?
he didn't mention that today when I
No,
spoke to him.
I'm sure he didn't.
He was
So-
hiding from me.
But all kidding aside, he actually was. He actually, with his events, he'll call me up. I told him, I says, you got to call this event. There's going to be thunder and light. Tom, he goes, it's going to stop at 1:15. I'm watching it on the radar, he says. And by God, it did. So he knows his stuff.
And obviously, we overlooked Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps last year. They'll be on our list this year for a donation. And we did Yorktown last year, but hopefully we get everybody.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Perfect.
Thank
Hope to
you.
see
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
And if nothing else, maybe they could just set a booth up, maybe get a couple extra volunteers. You took care of it? Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, that's all we have for our open session. We're going to go into resolutions. Okay, Central Garage, authorize the following vehicle to be deemed obsolete and scrapped at Brookfield Resource Management or sold at auction by Absolute Auction. It's a 2008 Ford Expedition. Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer from the general fund balance to highway drainage, 50,000 from general fund to highway drainage, 50,000. Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer from the general fund to special projects, 2,300 from general fund to special projects landmarks. From Parks and Recreation, authorize the application for a grant under the Greenway Conservancy Trail Grant Program for the new sign in the kiosk on the bridge over the Taconic Parkway. Here you go, Susan.
Hey.
All right?
Going
So-
out next week.
So let's see how we do with that. And then we have from the Supervisor's Office, authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the County of Westchester for the provision of nutrition site transportation for elderly residents. Authorize the supervisor to enter in an agreement with the Yorktown Grange. And this is from the town board, and I'm going to let Ed Lachterman read this one.
Recognize April 26, 2023 as Korean War Veterans Day in the town of Yorktown. Excuse me. Whereas the town of Yorktown recognizes April 26, 2023 as Korean War Veterans Day in the town of Yorktown, and whereas on Korean War Veterans Day we honor all those who bravely served in the Korean War, and whereas Korean War Veterans Day was created and honored all the veterans who fought during its time, and whereas during the Korean War, approximately 1,789,000 members of the United States Armed Forces served in theater along with the forces of the Republic of Korea and 20 other members of the United Nations to defend freedom and democracy. And whereas casualties in the United States Armed Forces during the Korean War included 54,246 dead, more than 284,000 wounded, and approximately 8,055 listed as MIA, or missing in action, or prisoners of war. And whereas April 26, 2023, and every day we honor their bravery and commitment and give thanks to a generation of Americans who valiantly fought for freedom, and therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Yorktown recognizes April 26, 2023 as Korean War Veterans Day in the town of Yorktown. And if I may add, the significance of April 26 is the start of the peace talks, and New York State has adopted the same day for recognizing Korean War vets, and the reason they did it at that point is so it could be recognized while the Assembly and Senate are in session. And I would also like to recognize something that we missed last month, and we do have a veteran in the back of our room who also served. Major Sheridan, could you please come to the podium?
How are we doing tonight, Major?
Quite well. How about you?
Good.
Good. So would you explain what we missed on in March of 2020?
March into April was the ground offensive phase of the Iraq War. It was rotation OIF #1 before the whole thing was termed altogether as the Global War on Terror. But the ground offensive phase through a declaration of victory over the Iraqi regime of Saddam Hussein that happened roughly mid-April of 2003.
And if I am not correct, you served during that?
That's the time frame I was there.
Yes. Well, we thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
We recognize this 20-year anniversary of our troops fighting against the tyranny of Saddam Hussein and all the tyranny that exists. And we understand that New York and the United States and Yorktown would be nothing without our military, or we might all be speaking German at this point. So thank you very much, Major, for you and through all of the troops. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your kind comments. I'll bring that back to the VFW. VFW Post 8328, like us on Facebook. And hospitality of the house tomorrow for any Korean War veterans or for Iraqi freedom veterans.
Thank you.
Hospitality of the house tomorrow.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Take care, Major.
Thank you so much, Major.
Okay, to continue. Accept the resignation of Nicholas Burns as heavy motor operator from the Highway Department. We're also going to accept the retirement of Sergeant Paul Dillon from the Yorktown Police Department. Good luck in your endeavors, Paul. Your service is greatly appreciated. We're going to appoint Brian G. O'Keefe to the Heavy Motor Equipment Operator Job Class Code 0429-0 within the Water Department effective May 1st, 2023. Congratulations, Brian. Appoint Charles Chase Jr. to Heavy Motor Equipment Operator Job Class 0429-02 with the Highway Department effective May 1st, 2023. I have one more here. Yep, okay. Congratulations, Charles. We have awarded the bid for the towing contract, whereas a bid was noticed and published for the provision of certain towing and emergency repair services to vehicles, whereas Yorktown Auto Body, Inc. submitted a bid proposal for a licensed fee to the town in the amount of $110,600. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the bid for the provisions of certain towing and emergency repair service to vehicles be awarded to Yorktown Auto Body for a license fee to the town in the amount of $110,600. Can I have a motion?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have a good night, Yorktown.
Good night, Yorktown.
I don't.